All right, Patriots Nation, buckle up. Because today we're diving deep into everything swirling around New England right now. The draft's right around the corner, speculation is running wild, and while the sun's shining bright here in Michigan, where I'm based, the real heat is coming from the constant buzz about what the Patriots might do next. Trade rumors, quarterback drama, offensive line whispers, it's all in the air, and we've got a lot to unpack. Now, one of the biggest talking points out there is whether the Patriots might actually trade back in the draft. It's been floating all over the internet, but when you get closer to the people who really know what's going on, the picture starts to shift. A source with knowledge of the team's thinking suggested that the odds of a trade back are honestly pretty slim. That doesn't mean it's impossible, not at all, but it does sound like most of the mock draft trade scenarios we're seeing might be more fantasy than fact. Teams have been analyzed up and down who could move up to grab a top prospect. Like Shedeur Sanders, could someone be eyeing Mason Graham or even Tyler Warren with that 4th overall pick? Those names have been floated, but insiders remain skeptical. A league executive from a team outside the top 10 basically laughed at the idea that anyone would seriously try to jump that high for the 4th selection. That's just one opinion, of course, but it reflects a broader sentiment within league circles. Coaches, scouts, and decision makers tend to be cautious with their top draft assets, and unless there's a player they absolutely can't live without, making that kind of leap just doesn't happen all that often. That brings us to what many believe are the more likely outcomes. Most mock drafts and expert predictions suggest that the first 2 picks are, at this point, nearly locked in. The first could very well be one of the biggest names in the class, a true blue chip talent. The second, more likely than not, will be a quarterback, though which one still seems up in the air. There's one quarterback in particular, we all know who we're talking about, whose stock seems to be slipping. There was buzz earlier in the process that he could fall, and as draft day approaches, that buzz is turning into more of a loud hum. He's a talented guy, no doubt, but it just feels like teams aren't jumping at the chance to make him their franchise guy. Let's look around the league for a second. The quarterback market is complicated. Some teams that we thought were desperate for help under center have already made moves. One went ahead and signed a veteran, maybe not a long-term answer, but at least a stopgap. Another brought in a younger option who's flashed potential, and they're putting some chips on him to develop. Then there's the team that rolled the dice on a trade for a former starter. He's had some playoff experience, even had a decent run a few years back. Is he the guy? Probably not. But again, it's about bridging the gap, not necessarily locking down the next superstar right away. So when you really think about it, how many teams are left that would realistically trade up into the top 5 for a quarterback? Especially this one. Probably not many. The interest just doesn't seem to match the price it would take to make a move like that. It's not that teams don't need quarterbacks. Plenty of them do. It's just that most of them have already taken steps to address that need, at least for now, which makes it really hard to see a scenario where someone gives up a haul to move into the Patriots spot just to take a guy who's starting to slide down boards. And yet, this is the draft we're talking about. Anything can happen. All it takes is one GM who's in love with a player, one head coach who sees something and others don't. That's what makes this time of year so unpredictable and so fun. But from everything we're hearing, if a trade does happen, it likely won't be for that quarterback. It might be for a different position entirely, or maybe a team sees someone slipping that they didn't think would be available at 4. Now, shifting gears just a bit, there's another story bubbling up that's getting more and more attention. It involves an offensive tackle, a pretty good one, who according to reports didn't show up for voluntary off-season workouts. That alone wouldn't usually be a big deal, but this guy's also entering the final year of his rookie contract. His cap hit is modest, sitting at around $1.5 million, but the real story is about what happens next. There are whispers that he's looking for an extension, maybe even hoping to get moved. That's got some people thinking the Patriots could swoop in and make a deal. But here's the thing, the Patriots are holding the number 4 pick. That's a premium spot, a franchise-altering spot. And unless they're absolutely sure that this offensive tackle is a game changer worth giving up serious draft capital for, it just doesn't feel like a move they'll make. The smarter play might be to use that 4th pick on a top-tier rookie, someone who can step in right away, play under a cost-controlled contract, and potentially become a cornerstone on the offensive line for years to come. Sure, the veteran tackle has experience, maybe even more reliability out of the gate, but long term, the upside might favor going young. There are people out there who think trading for the tackle could work, especially if it's for a later round. Tick! Like if the asking price is something in the range of a 6th or 7th rounder, maybe then it becomes more attractive. But giving up something like a 2nd or even a 3rd, that's where things get murky. Especially for a team like the Patriots, who can't afford to miss on early draft picks right now. They need impact players, day one starters, guys who can come in and help shift the culture. And all this ties back into the big question. Who will the Patriots pick at number 4, assuming they stay put? As we inch closer to draft night, things begin to narrow and the smoke starts to clear. You begin to hear more consensus from scouts and insiders about which players are actually in play. But still, this is the draft. Shocks happen every single year. A player slides, a surprise name climbs, a team panics, one domino falls, and the whole board reshuffles. At this moment, one name keeps coming up as a strong candidate, a guy who plays a position of major need for the Patriots. Offensive tackle. It's been an area that needs attention for a while now, and even though they've made some additions, it's no out of the question that they double down. Especially if the idea is to secure a long-term left tackle. Whether that comes with the 4th pick or maybe the 38th, if they decide to get creative, remains to be seen. But make no mistake, getting protection for whoever's under center is a top priority. They've got to nail this. And while the idea of a trade lingers, it's not something anyone inside the building seems eager to do unless the deal is too good to pass up. The odds of them actually moving back? Still pretty low. But we've all seen stranger things happen. Maybe a team gets desperate. Maybe someone offers a crazy package. Maybe the Patriots surprise everyone. The point is, anything's possible on draft night. And with so many pieces still in motion, Patriots fans should be ready for whatever twist comes next. With so much uncertainty surrounding the draft, it's hard not to get swept up in the excitement and then the stress of what the Patriots might do next. This is one of the most important drafts for the franchise in recent memory. After a few rocky seasons and a major transition at the quarterback position, this offseason feels like a crossroads. Whoever they select, whether they stay at pick number 4 or decide to make a move, will send a strong message about the direction the team is taking. There's been endless chatter about whether New England should target a quarterback early or go for a safer, more foundational piece like an offensive tackle. And it's a fair debate. On one hand, if you don't have your quarterback, nothing else really matters. You can have the best defense in the league, a stacked offensive line, explosive playmakers, but if your quarterback can't make the right reads, can't move, the chains, or worse, can't stay healthy, you're not going anywhere. But on the flip side, reaching for a quarterback just because you need one is how franchises end up stuck in mediocrity for years. We've seen it happen time and time again across the league. So the question becomes, is there a quarterback in this draft that's truly worth pick number 4? Some say yes. Others are hesitant. The Patriots front office is likely torn between going with the best player available and filling their most glaring need. And while fans are passionately advocating on both sides, it's clear that the decision makers are weighing every possible angle. You don't get many chances to pick this high in a draft without having to give something up. When you're holding the top 5 pick, it's because something went wrong the season before, badly. That makes it all the more important to get it right. There's been some speculation that the team could go for a developmental quarterback later in the draft, someone with upside who doesn't need to start immediately. That would allow the Patriots to address a more urgent need early, like left tackle, and then circle back for a quarterback in the middle rounds. But that approach only works if you have confidence in the coaching staff's ability to develop talent, especially at a position as complex as quarterback. Right now, that's still a question mark in New England. Then there's the idea that the Patriots could double dip, maybe take a tackle with their first pick and then package assets to move back into the late first round or early second to grab a quarterback they like. It's risky, but it gives them flexibility and balance. Again, it all comes down to how they've graded these prospects internally. No matter how much we analyze from the outside, the real decisions are being made behind closed doors in hours and hours of film study, interviews, and internal debates. Let's also not forget the pressure this front office is under. After years of stability under one of the greatest head coaches of all time, there's now a new regime, a new vision, and a new standard to meet. Fans are demanding results. Ownership is watching closely, and the players themselves are likely wondering what kind of team they're going to be part of going forward. That kind of pressure can either lead to bold, inspired decisions or cautious, overly safe moves that fail to move the needle. The hope, of course, is that the Patriots find the sweet spot, a calculated risk that leads to long-term success. As for the offensive line situation, it's not just about protecting the quarterback. It's about identity. The best Patriots teams of the past were built on physicality, discipline, and dominance in the trenches. If this team wants to recapture any of that, it starts up front. The line needs to be solid, reliable, and preferably young. That's why so much attention is being paid to prospects who could step in at left tackle and lock down that spot for the next decade. That kind of player doesn't come around often, and when he's there, you take him. But again, it all hinges on who's available and what kind of offers might come in. If a team behind the Patriots falls in love with someone and throws a king's ransom at them to move up, then the decision gets a little tougher. Do you take the trade and stockpile picks? Or do you stand firm and make the pick that helps you right now? It's the ultimate draft dilemma, future flexibility versus immediate impact. And while trade rumors are always exciting, we also have to separate real possibilities from pure speculation. That rumored deal involving the offensive tackle who's seeking a contract extension, as interesting as it sounds, the more you dig into it, the less likely it feels. It seems like one of those stories that gains traction just because people want it to be true, because it fills a need and creates a headline. But the reality is teams don't often give up valuable assets for players who are about to get expensive, especially when they can draft a younger, cheaper version with potentially more upside. The contract situation only complicates things further. If this tackle really wants a payday, any team trading for him has to be prepared to negotiate right away or risk losing him in free agency. That kind of uncertainty is not what the Patriots need right now. They need stability. They need players who are bought in, committed, and ready to be part of a rebuild that's already underway. Anything else just feels like a distraction. Still, anything can happen. Draft night has a way of flipping narratives in an instant. A surprise pick, and a last-minute trade, a free fall by a prospect no one expected to drop. All of that can, and likely will, happen, which is why fans across the league are glued to every update, every rumor, every cryptic social media post from an agent or a player. As for the Patriots, the main focus has to be building a foundation. This can't be about patchwork fixes or flashy moves that look good on paper. It's about bringing in guys who fit the culture, the scheme, and the long-term vision. Whether that means drafting a quarterback, an offensive tackle, or even a defensive stud who falls into their lap, the key is making the pick that sets the tone for the next chapter of Patriots football. In the weeks leading up to the draft, the chatter will only grow louder. Analysts will shift their mock drafts after every pro day. Fans will argue over prospects, compare highlight reels, and dream up trade scenarios. But when the time comes and the commissioner steps up to announce the fourth pick, it'll all come down to one thing: belief. Belief in the process, belief in the pick, and belief that this is the beginning of something better. For now, all we can do is wait, speculate, and keep our ears to the ground. Because the future of the New England Patriots is being shaped right now. And the draft is just the beginning of the story. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to Patriots Hub and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our New England Patriots. And don't be shy. Share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. The rumor mill has been buzzing lately, and if you're a fan of the NFL, you know that anything can happen in the offseason. One of the most exciting whispers making the rounds is the potential arrival of Tyreek Hill, the Miami Dolphins star, wide receiver to the New England Patriots. But what would this mean for the Patriots, and how realistic is this rumor? Let's dive into the speculation that has sent shockwaves through both the AFC East and NFL fan bases. Tyreek Hill, also known as Cheetah, due to his blazing speed, has been one of the most electrifying players in the league since entering the NFL. With 8 Pro Bowl selections and a Super Bowl victory with the Kansas City Chiefs, Hill has built a legacy of making jaw-dropping plays. After a season with the Dolphins, where he led the NFL in receiving yards and touchdowns, Hill's potential move to the Patriots is enough to get any football fan excited. His explosive skill set could be just a missing piece for a New England offense looking to rise from mediocrity. However, there are a few hurdles standing in the way of this potential blockbuster trade. For one, the Dolphins would be loath to part ways with their top offensive weapon. Hill's departure would create a gaping hole in Miami's receiving corps, especially as the team looks to rebound after missing the playoffs. But that hasn't stopped rumors from circulating. With Hill's recent public frustrations with the Dolphins after their disappointing season, some have speculated that he might be looking for a fresh start, one that could be with the Patriots. For the Patriots, acquiring a player of Hill's caliber could be a game changer. New England's offense, while solid, lacks that top-tier wide receiver who can stretch the field and make big plays in critical moments. Quarterback Mac Jones would benefit enormously from having a weapon like Hill, whose ability to break away from defenders and turn short catches into long touchdowns could unlock the full potential of the Patriots' passing game. Imagine Hill lining up opposite Juju Smith-Schuster. Defensive coordinators would have their hands full. Of course, the logistics of such a move are complex. The Patriots would need to work out a deal that satisfies the Dolphins, and Hill's salary demands might be a sticking point. But with the NFL's unpredictable nature, it's not out of the question that we could see this trade come to fruition. Whether it's a simple rumor or something more, the idea of Tyreek Hill wearing a Patriots uniform is enough to stir excitement for fans and analysts alike. If this rumor holds any weight, the AFC East could be in for a seismic shift in the balance of power. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our New England Patriots, be sure to subscribe to Patriots Hub and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.